I know I'm tired too. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's been a freaking long time. Has it been like a month? It's been a month
Yeah.
since we've done the last episode. We've been stupid fucking busy. Holiday season is no joke in being in New York City. We get everything. And especially being in a restaurant all the damn time, you're just tired. Like I've been tired every weekend, and like now that you moved up the schedule to like Sundays, I just have no energy and no desire to get on like my computer at night. I just want to fall asleep, especially like coming after like 7 p.m. You know.
I agree with you with that one. Especially, I've been wanting to talk about what's been happening on Hawkeye, which was funny because Hawkeye hasn't started yet when we decided to like go in hiatus for
Right?
yeah.
I can't believe that. I think your mic is messed up.
All right, loud and clear. Let me get a little closer. All right.
Yeah, I can't believe like we didn't even talk about Hawkeye. I've been reviewing it on like TikTok and stuff. I should really start reviewing these things on YouTube and just like make it longer. I've been so tired, like I just don't have the energy. Like I said before, it's fine. I'll just
Mm.
cut it from back and forth, and it's really nothing else. It's just that yeah, but a lot have a lot of things have been dropping for Marvel. I don't know really much about DC. I know like there was a trailer for Batman, or I think there was something big for Batman, but I really didn't pay attention to it because I was mostly focused on Spider-Man. So if you won, have you seen Hawkeye? We haven't even talked about that.
Oh, I definitely seen it. I've seen every single episode. I've seen almost every single episode more than once,
Oh,
at
that's good.
least twice or three times. Really enjoyed the dynamic between Kate Bishop and Clint Barton.
Oh yeah, I saw like the mentorship. It was also her teaching him things and all, and there was a lot of things that, like, especially after Endgame and him. There was one scene I just saw in episode two, or was it? Yeah, episode two, when he's playing around with the guys in Central Park. I forgot what they're called.
The
LARF,
Larpers?
the LARPers, and he's like, "Yeah, kill me," at one point, and I was like, "Damn," like. We joke about depression, but when we joke about depression, there comes this dark element towards this dark jokes, and it's like you want to kind of die because you feel bad of what happened when Natasha sacrificed herself and instead of you, and she told you like, no, it has to be me. Like you have family, you have this, you know.
I mean, it. You start to see it in his face when he's taking the leak, and then he sees on the toilet Thanos was right, and he
Yeah,
sort of had that face like he was giving thought to it, like maybe he was.
it
And
was.
he also had a mug that said Thanos was right, which was so funny because it was almost like it was hinting to like the idea that you there is something there that kind of like is trying to tell you that though he did it was almost genocide, it was genocide, you know, the way Thanos was viewing everything was in his version of how to save the world, the universe,
Yeah,
you know. So I would understand if anybody saw it in his way. It saw it his way, and everybody who was trying to save it. I mean, like the Avengers and everybody was just saving those they loved because they got lost in that snap, which is understandable. But people can view Thanos' snap as him as the hero, because all villains see themselves as the hero. I mean, Doctor Doom, and Magneto, and all these villains have a sword and thing. And
Doc
you
Ock
spoke about this before in some of your TikToks about what is it, the Butcher, or the Butcher, the
or the
Thor's
Butcher.
villain.
Yeah, what he does, and like he
Yeah,
wants to uh, kill all these gods because they don't listen to their prayers of what other people are suffering, and what they do is like just just basically just royalty. They don't care. They just live out their lives just like anybody other, and if they want to, they can listen to a gospel. I mean, gospel, a prayer. If they want to do something about it, if they don't, they just don't. You know.
Every time, and Magneto, we've seen Magneto's always been that X-Men villain, but he's always surrounded himself in, with the X-Men, always with his, having this long time friendship with Professor X, and always trying to view, even going back to Hawkeye and spoiler that happened at that end of that season. Well, actually, episode was 6 episodes, right?
Yes.
So pretty much the fifth episode. We already knew who it was who was considered Uncle.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it was really the third episode in the beginning, and I like pointed it out. I was like, "Yo, those cufflinks!" Like it was that cufflink and it was that finger, and I analyzed that finger, and I was like, it had to be him. It has to be.
And then the crazy thing is that, and I was watching Daredevil because I was telling my girl, like, "Hey, we need to see Daredevil because what's about to come in the next couple of weeks. Also, Spiderman. We need to watch this." So we were watching it, and I said, "Hey, this is this." Then I was like, "Oh, this," because she was like cooking and stuff, and I was like, "This is the villain that's gonna be in Hawkeye." And I showed her the scene when he's decapitating the guy with the door of the car.
Oh yeah.
And the head just falls off. And
like,
I was like, "Yeah, this is who they're going to be dealing with," you know. And then in Hawkeye, they made him like one-on-one, like almost. They made him like super powerful. Dude took an arrow,
took
hit with the
arrows.
car. He was strong. I mean, he was strong in Daredevil, but I think they kind of humanized him, so he won't be as strong as he was when he was placed on Hawkeye. When he was placed on Hawkeye, I was like, this. That means he could take on Spider-Man hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like the PS4 game.
It's pretty. Yeah, it was great to see him back. I mean, it was something where everybody that saw that episode 5 at the end, I know jumped out their seats or just screamed. I screamed. I was like, yeah. Yo, my dad was like, did you just scream? You don't ever scream. Dude, I was so excited to see Vincent D'Onofrio back, man. And for him to put on that suit. And then I don't like that people criticize what he was wearing on the last episode, the Hawaiian shirt. I was like, this man is rocking that. On top of that, that was in the comics. I was like, what the hell, man? Why are you, yo, bro?
And the
People don't read
cane, he was
comics.
rocking the cane too.
And the cane.
He wasn't rocking the cane in Daredevil at
He
the end.
wasn't rocking the cane, and he wasn't even rocking that. Was it fedora? I was like, she. No, it wasn't fedora. It was just a regular hat. But I was like, she looks man nice. He looked like he about to go to Cuba and have a Cuban cigar,
I know.
man.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed when he came in, and he had an interview in Variety, and he said that that they wanted to make sure that the Kingpin that they saw in Daredevil is the same Kingpin we have in the MCU.
Yeah, and he said, yeah.
That he didn't want to change that, and I didn't see it. I didn't see any of those Easter eggs, but they did say that they placed a couple of Easter eggs so they could let you know that he was the same Kingpin in Daredevil. And I was trying to look for those specific Easter eggs that they were talking about, because Kingpin was in the first season. He wasn't fully in the second season because it was a whole Punisher story. The only time we got to see Kingpin was in the prison when he had to deal with Punisher. And then in the third season, he was throughout the entire season because he was like getting Bullseye to go after Daredevil. He was trying to rekindle his relationship with his girlfriend and to get his wife and all that stuff. So, but I was like looking for those subtle hints that they were saying that he was connected to the Daredevil version, and I didn't get to see that.
One of the main things was the place in the first episode. We used to work close to there. Yeah, so
Patrick's
it,
Cathedral.
yeah, right behind it, and I was like, yeah, That's the place where I know I've seen in Daredevil, and I think that's one of the big Easter eggs where they just said, yeah.
A lot
Um,
of Easter eggs, especially in Daredevil, and also, well, of course, throughout they showed Rockefeller Center throughout the entire
oh
like
yeah, the last
Hawkeye
episode, yes.
season.
I think that was where they ended the shot too.
Yeah. So
The episode, I mean.
I know there was a scene in Hawkeye which was no in Daredevil where it was on top, it was on the rooftop of one of the buildings. And when I was with my girl, and I said, we know that area. Though it's on the rooftop, is because down at the bottom is the statue with
Yeah,
Atlas.
yeah, yeah,
And it was when Kingpin was talking to the Asian lady
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
bench on top of that building. It so happens, and ironically, that's the place that Spider-Man put Kristen Dunst on in the first Spider-Man when Green Goblin attacked the city when they were doing the Spider-Man Day or whatever. And I was like, holy crap! They're just like bringing up all these like these like places and stuff like that that sort of resemble, the whole Spider-Man and Daredevil and of course Hawkeye.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I like the season. I don't think it really was the best series out of all of them. But it was good. To- I think it took a little bit to wind it up because I was watching the first and second episode. I was like, damn, can we get to the story now? Because it takes a little bit and it's fine, but it's
Yeah,
also like it's
I
6 episodes. You kind of want to
yeah,
rush it a little bit, you know. But
yeah
they
they
but it
do
was fun.
rush. I felt like yeah. What I felt is that they kind of rushed it a little. We got the story, we got what we needed to know, and all that stuff. But I felt that there was some moments where it was like, oh my god, that's it, 6 episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we got more story from all the other shows, more, you know, what we needed to know, and we had felt that closure in the end. I felt that there was closure.
Now I was like, they did not just bring him up. They did not bring Vincent D'Onofrio to come back as Kingpin in the MCU just to kill him. I was like, there's no fucking way. And they didn't. Well, I don't think so. It just pans off, and then you hear the body just fall. It's a big body, so you know.
Yeah, I think he took the shot. I think he's fine.
I think he's
I
fine.
think she thought she killed him, but he's probably fine. He
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
took those bullets like nothing.
yeah.
It's Kingpin.
It's
I
Kingpin.
mean, he took a freaking car to the chest, and he still managed to get up and fight Kate Bishop one on one like nothing.
Took like an
It,
explosion on the floor and they took it like nothing. He got up and still was walking in Times Square. Now, can I tell you, the freaking cops took forever to get there. I was like, where the hell are these cops?
Again, I mean, that's every single movie since the
That's
1980s when
true,
cops
yeah.
pop up.
But
This
I'm
is
like
like,
Midtown though, like Rockefeller Center though, because we passed there and there's like cops everywhere, and then these guys come out of nowhere. The tracksuits just keep coming and coming. And I'm like, go, these guys are getting quicker than the cops.
I'm telling you, that was like waves in like Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It
coming
just
out
felt
of nowhere, like they you stop for a little bit, and all of a sudden it just goes. You hear that sound that signifies like they're coming, and it's like, but they were
yeah.
coming like out of nowhere, and I was like, we've been seeing only like 7 of them. Where did these guys come from? They're like from the other boroughs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy. But let's talk about Yelena.
Dude, I just rewatched Black Widow with my sisters because they did. I was like, you have to watch Black Widow to kind of get Hawkeye a little bit,
Yeah.
and Yelena is just so badass. I love
Yeah,
Yelena.
I loved her when she not the second time when she pops up and she goes confronts Kate Bishop. And that conversation, she's joking around and all these things. And then when it says, but why did you want to talk to Hawkeye? I said, I don't want to talk to him. I want to kill him. And then when it gets serious, it's like her whole demeanor changes. And I was like, that is a great actress. she's right there eating mac and cheese with sriracha and just joking around and talking about visiting the city and going to the tree and all these things and seeing the sights to all of a sudden telling you like I'm going to kill him and this is why. And then when she says that, it's like, no, he was an Avenger. And it's like, what the hell does that even mean? And in my when watching the movie, I felt that way too. Like, what does that mean now? It doesn't exist anymore at this moment because it was just they stopped the major threat and it felt like everyone was scattered out. Tony's gone. Captain America's old, or we don't even know if he's dead in between. I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna do a funeral in Captain America's Falcon shit.
Wow.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. But it felt like there's nothing there. There's Hulk is there, sure.
Right.
Thor is there, sure, because we're getting that movie. But even then, we're not going to see Avengers for a while or an Avengers team of some sort. We can see that each member, there's going to be a member each little by little popping up that they're going to form. And we can see that the Dark Avengers might end up forming in there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably, but seeing what happened with Yelena at the end, I don't know if she's going to end up like joining the bad team.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Her joining the good ones, being with Kate, being with the twins, Wanda's twins, or being with Miss Marvel. Um, that I can see happen. Be the Black Widow of that team.
It'll be funny if like later on Elena just forgets about the accent just like they did with Wanda.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. It'd be like, what happened to your accent? It went away. uh, I just thought of that. There was I rewatched like I said, I rewatched Black Widow, and the beginning of the scene, she likes mac and cheese, and I was like, I didn't know that was a reference. It just hit me. On top of that, there was a scene when I think when we meet her and she's being an agent and she's trying to get the girl in like Morocco, and she's going down the wall. She does the thing. She grapples on, and then she's walking down the wall or the house, and she does the same thing in Rockefeller Center. I was like, oh, that's another reference to her character. She keeps doing that too, though. So they keep doing, and she did that in like Kate Bishop's house too. So I like these little references that they just don't forget about, like
I
characters.
actually enjoyed Kate Bishop's character. It
Yelena.
sort of gave humor to Hawkeye, to Clint, because Clint in the comics there is humor
Yeah.
with him. We've seen it many times, even in the
Animated series.
he's always making jokes. He's always ready to throw down, and you know, but I think Kate Bishop kind of brought humor out of Clint, even though it's like his is a little dry, and the way he says is the comedy when he brings it up, it's just so funny. Even like the whole discussion when they're there in front of her mother and this guy, what was
Jack.
his name? Jack, which he's also a character in the Marvel,
Swordsman.
swordsman. Yeah, swordsman. Which is funny because the swordsman was also he went into being bad and also good and stuff like that. But besides that, just leave it at yeah, it's not that important. In that scene when they're just having that conversation, you can see like the humor. Like she's trying to joke around, he's saying all these things, and he's like, no, nobody called. Like he's like, yeah, CB1 here is like, yeah, nobody calls me that. The humor's there, but then there's emotional moments that he was bringing into the show was like freaking heartbreaking. Like it was terrible. Like even the fight between him and Yelena, and when he was, you know, reminding her how much, you know, Natasha loved her, you know. And it was, yeah, all those are, there was a lot of great emotional moments.
Yeah, it was
Like
good.
I'm trying to pinpoint as emotional moments from each of the shows, and I felt like Wanda and I think WandaVision and Hawkeye had, I think, the most emotion in each of the characters. Loki had his moments. There was his moments, but when it
I
came
mean, I
to,
think in the first episode when he sees his death and sees his mom, that's super like fucking depressing. And then he changes when he sees his death with Thanos. Immediately, you just see that. And that was done great.
yeah, I enjoyed that because it's like now we don't have to see Loki anymore as the major villain. Now we get to see him be the hero and see what he's going to do next in the
Mhm.
next series, next season of
Oh man, I can't wait for next season. I know they're gonna have fun with the second season, especially with Kang, and
yeah.
yeah, Jonathan Majors, man. Um, moving on, man. I think we should really, I really did enjoy Hawkeye. I won't rank it up that high, but because we got Vincent D'Onofrio back, it gets its proper, um, th- hands down. Two thumbs up on me. But it wasn't
Mhm.
it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad at all. I think it had its slow moments, but it was pretty good.
And also for those who were expecting a possible Daredevil, well, if the rumors are correct, there was supposed to be the end credit, not, it was supposed to be end credit scene, not that stupid Rogers musical, which for some strange reason it was an excellent song. I actually enjoyed it for
Really?
some reason. I actually enjoyed it. Especially that scene when he goes like, "Oh, I could do this all day," and I was
I
like,
was
"Oh,
like,
the reference." But yeah, Daredevil was supposed to appear at the end of Hawkeye in the end credits, but because due to the pandemic and the travel and all that stuff, they were unable to pull that off. And
I'm gonna give a shout out to this one guy in my comment section because I thought the same thing, but I did not say it because I did a reaction video to the musical. I was like, why didn't it pan out to Daredevil watching the musical? But then I was like, wait, he's blind. I was like, there's no fucking way. I literally laughed at myself right at the end. I had to cut it because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna put that. Like, I just couldn't.
funny, a while back when they did the after they started doing they did the Arc of Games and stuff like that. Somebody says, and somebody posted online, and it was so messed up. Even though he's a fictional character, a Daredevil, they were like, for the first time only, you only get to see a clip from the unmade Daredevil game. And then they show just a black screen, and all you hear in the background is people just beating the crap out of each other.
I was like, it kind of makes sense that you use your senses. Oh, you use the Oculus. It'd be really good if you would use the Oculus as a Daredevil game, because then you could have all those like whatever type of. What did they do with the Bruce? Not Bruce. What's his name? The guy Ben Affleck's Daredevil. It had like
It
some
would,
weird blue stuff, right?
yeah, it was sort of like when you did go into detective mode in Batman,
In Batman, right? Yeah.
bluish, that bluish. So it was, I could see that happen, but then in the Daredevil TV show, the whole thing is red. He says
Yeah.
it's like see everything on fire, and I would have liked to see that like all in red, like it look like flames, and the people kind of look like be how the Predator sees the people, like in like the heat and
Thermal.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I could see a Daredevil like that, but it has to they have to do it in a way that you know you could enjoy seeing that mode, because sometimes when you're in detective mode in Batman, you don't get to see the quality of the graphics. You know, you only get to see the blue lines and all that stuff, and the rendering. It looks weird. But then when you get off it, it's just like the texture and the grunginess and dirty of being in Arkham City and all that stuff. You don't get to see that when you're in detective mode.
Yeah.
It's like if you do Daredevil, you kind of have to get used to the fact that you're viewing it through a perspective of a blind person who's this is how he's seeing things, you know.
Yeah, or like bad sonar, you know,
The only
radar.
way that would work actually is if I mean just do it like straight Batman, like the Batman game, but just don't do the looking detective mode thing. Maybe the hearing and all that stuff will probably be cool. Like pinpoint, like showing like him just being on top of the building and trying to hear things from a certain distance, and then pinpoint like head towards that direction. And Batman did that though too. You were able to hear it from like, hey, here, and then you could see the vibration of the voice and whatever
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
radio.
yeah. That's what I really like too from the detective mode. That was really good too. And they played around with it too, which they never really left you. It's just the little things that they did with that game that just made it great. You know, they really
Oh,
worked on everything so well, and
and it kept and
and
they
it got
kept
better. Yeah.
It was funny. I was reading up on it and why they couldn't do, but the origins. But originally, Rocksteady was going to do Batman Origins, but because if they would have done Origins, they would have been late on making Arkham Knight.
So
So they decided to have another game company do um do shit to do Batman Origins.
I think it would have been fine. I think it would have been okay for us to wait and just
I
enjoy
think yeah,
Origins.
I think yeah. But the thing is, it's just Origins did come out pretty well. I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed it. The thing is just why haven't we seen a remastered version of the damn game, but we get to see the remastered versions of all the other games?
Yeah.
What happened to that game company that doesn't want to just bring out a remaster of that Origins?
They
I would
should.
love to see a remaster.
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
I mean, to be honest, what is it? Bioshock. Bioshock 1 was so successful that they ended up creating a Bioshock when somebody created a Bioshock 2. And it wasn't by the same writers and creators of the first one. They decided because of it, how great it was and the success of it, that they included it within the trilogy. But the first one and the third one, which is Infinite, were created by the same person, Adam Levine. But the third one wasn't. But they still, wanted to create a story out of the Bioshock universe, and they still included it in a remaster. It was Origin was successful. They should have just included it in the game.
Yeah.
Right there.
Um. Anyways, moving on from that, I think we should talk about Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Oh
Non
my god,
spoilers first. What do you think of the movie? 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or what?
dude! I feel that they got out of that. I think this is the first movie that I feel that broke out of that. Is part three going to be good? And it broke out of that. We've been in a situation where we saw part one, it was great. Then the second one was like even better, but then the third one felt like it left me okay. But I felt like this literally broke out of that, and it went from the first one was Homecoming was like me. It wasn't the greatest Spider-Man,
No.
but then part two came in, and I was like, this is great. I love what they did with Mysterio. They did a
Yeah.
hell of a good job. And and I felt like it outdid the first one. But the third one outdid both of them, and it just blew my mind and how great it was, and it really went back into what Spider-Man really is. I felt the other ones weren't as what Spider-Man was. You know, they had their moments, but there wasn't any a lot of emotional moments in the first or second one. But in this third one, it gave us like what Spider-Man really is. Like it really brought Spider-Man back into like the comic books, into the shows we watch and all that stuff. So I could applaud that movie, like, because it broke out of that part three phase. It's no longer that, if they make part three for movies, they really need to look back at Spider-Man. They have to look at No Way Home
So what'd you
and
think? 10 out of 10.
I would say 9 out of 10. Why? Why is that 9 out of 10? I think with everything in their disposal, it could have probably gone much bigger. Maybe.
Like introduce somebody else.
Big. Maybe introduce somebody else.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
And
Okay,
get
okay, 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 okay.
yeah,
No, no, no. I'll give you that. I give you that. Because I was like, damn, they did it in the first movie, but they didn't do this in the third movie. I wonder why. Okay, for me, it's still 10 out of 10. I think 10 out of 10 is a really proper number. I will deduct a little points because they didn't do what I think you're talking about. So that's non-spoilers. Now we're gonna get into the spoilers. Holy hell, did I freaking love this movie! First of all, when I was in the theaters with my sisters, because I didn't see it the first weekend that it came out, I saw the Tuesday, the
yeah.
following week. When did you see it? Friday?
I saw it Saturday night, 7:50. We saw it in 4DX. It
Oh,
kept
I saw it.
slipping.
Oh, I got IMAX. But holy hell! All right. The trailer, the first 15 minutes just blew the trailer. It was literally the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
And it was great, you know. It gave us a lot. I love the introduction of Doc Ock. I like what they did with him. I love his redemption story. They did a lot of redemption stories with these villains, and I really enjoyed it. Um, Green Goblin. My God, I could go on and on for like that whole fight in the where Happy lives was
yeah,
great. It was so good. I
yeah,
don't think they forgot about anybody in the movie because everybody. I don't think anybody really stole the show, but there was some iconic moments in the movie that shined a lot of the characters properly and it included everyone else that was in that scene.
yeah. No,
My favorite scene was when there were all three of them, well, basically five of them, but three of them are talking to each other on that rooftop and talking about Uncle Ben, talking about what it really is to become Spider-Man, about
yeah,
to throw it all away, and then them just talking about like with great power comes great responsibility and like who said it, and I was like, damn, like I'm about to cry because this was like it was done so beautifully. Andrew enjoyed being there. Toby enjoyed being there. Tom Holland enjoyed being part of that. Oh my god. I mean, it was beautiful.
that
Nostalgia.
this scene when Andrew mentions Gwen and he mentions Uncle Ben, they start talking about the people they lost, and he was like, "I couldn't save her," and I just Andrew's reaction to that had me in tears. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I'm literally like getting emotional with just the idea because he was broken by that. It's just the idea that uh, like I kind of rewinded back in my head that scene because the father was like, "Stay away from Gwen," this life is dangerous. You can't have her like this. And he broke up with her in the second movie. So we can't have this. No, he broke up with her at the end of the first movie.
He broke
No,
up with her at the
it
end
was
of
the
the first
second.
movie.
It was the second one. Because he went to the graduation or whatever, and he kept seeing the visions of her dad.
Oh yeah,
And at
yeah.
the point, he was like, "We can't be together. This has to end." And, you know, and it was pretty messed up because it. But then at the end, somehow she managed to be like in in, in the crosshairs of the situation, and she died. And looking back and watching that scene in No Way Home really like was like I look back and I was like, damn, it's really messed up because he was supposed to stay away from her. And it's like I could understand it was his fault that he put her back into like brought her back into his life, and then all this shit was happening, and then he freaking lost her. And I could see the blame there, and I could see the blame even in. I mean, we saw the blame in Uncle Ben. That's the comic book history right there with what happened. He didn't stop the burglar, and then the burglar ended up killing Uncle Ben, and then you know he blames himself for it.
And he blames himself for getting the guy killed in the beginning of the first movie of Toby's, because he.
But they put, but they also put extra in Andrew's story,
Yeah, I
which
enjoyed it. I mean,
when
to be honest with you, like I've said before, I never really hated Andrew. I just hated the second movie of how it went because the script was just blah. But the only iconic and best moment out of that movie was Gwen Stacy's death. And you
yeah
can feel him. Oh my god. And did I not tell you that if we see Andrew save MJ in that scene of the trailer and he just says, not this time." I mean, for him to say, "Are you okay?" and then just like cry
yeah
was better than ever. Like that was
it,
so
like he
sentimental.
started like when he started he just started screaming like no, and he just dived after her, and it was like, and I could see that it was his redemption, but also to spare that emotion off Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because he even said it like, I got bitter, I was angry, I was pissed off all the time when I was Spider-Man after Gwen died. And we got an idea of what happened afterwards. Like, we got to see through his mouth a Spider-Man 3. This is what he was dealing with after Gwen. And the fact that by saving her, it also spared the punishment that freaking Tom Holland Spider-Man would have freaking put on
Felt
himself.
and done, yeah, gone
You know?
through, yeah.
So it was, and he just lost May. So imagine losing freaking MJ there. That would have been freaking bananas. He would have
Yeah,
been
he would have
like,
gone
I'm
nuts.
gonna go kill Goblin. I don't honestly don't give a damn. And if anybody feels that, oh my God, it was too extreme, I don't think Peter Parker should have said he should kill Green Goblin. I felt like he was out of his character. We could
Hell
all
no.
we could all suck it, because even in the comic book, he screamed out, "I'm going to kill you."
He screamed out when Gwen Stacy died, and then yeah, he screamed out
Yeah,
to that to Green
threatening Green
Goblin.
Goblin, he was gonna kill him. So
Yeah.
it's like it was. So when I heard it coming out of Tom Holland's mouth, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how he felt when he lost Gwen Stacy in the comic. So if he felt like that about what happened to May, I understand. Especially he felt like that with Green Goblin.
One
He
of the
wanted to kill
little
him.
things that I don't think gets talked about is right before. Okay, so at that scene at the end when it's Tom Holland fighting Green Goblin and Tom Holland's winning, and then it pans to Andrew and Toby, and they look at the fight, and then they look at each other, and then they just nod. They
Yeah,
both know what is going to happen, and Toby takes it upon himself for him to stop him at that point.
yeah.
that little, oh my god, I mean, it was, Jesus, this movie was everything, man. Dude, it was really great. I don't know. That's one of the little tidbits that I think is underrated. Oh, I screamed. I was the first one to scream and said yes when I saw his hand and that cane. I was like, yeah, and nobody caught it up until they pan to his face, and everyone was like, oh, and I was like, fucking fake
Yeah, I
fan.
know. It you hear is like,
I'm just kidding.
and I was like, there he is.
That's it. I
Yeah,
was like,
that's the man right there. I'm a very good lawyer. Yeah, and it, it was I felt there was a sort of such an like a warm like a great feeling to know that it was Toby Maguire's Spider-Man that went and freaking stopped him from freaking
yeah. Oh
plunging
yeah,
the
yeah.
glider to Green Goblin. And you could see it in the expression in his face, like he was like, like don't do this, and there's and it's like I don't know if it's a sort of
Well, in the first movie at the end, he grabs it because Green Goblin is about to stab him, and
yeah,
he grabs it, and it's basically him stopping himself again in that third movie, where he's stopping Peter before he's about to die, or before he, in a sense, about to cross that line where he shouldn't, and he's
yeah,
stopping
and it was
himself, and I'm
that
just
it
like,
was
ah.
yeah, and it was great that it was Toby's Spider-Man
I
that
yeah, I
stopped.
think it was a really good yeah, I think it was a good idea for it to be Toby because
Yeah,
it just gives that emphasis and just that
but
metaphor.
it also cements that he was our first Spider-Man, live action in movies, and he doesn't kill. Even in
Right.
the other, he didn't have that. He was always trying to save a life. Even in when he was trying to save Green Goblin's life, they were having that conversation, and then the glider ended up coming, and then he ended up flipping. It wasn't his fault that he died. He tried to save. He tried to save Harry. He tried to save Norman. He tried to save Otto. Even though they were villains. So the fact that Tobey Maguire came in to stop that glider made it was perfect. And it also said, like, in a way, like, where we don't kill. That's not our MO. We don't do that. We have to stop that. Yeah,
Yeah.
stop before it gets stabbed. We don't kill. And the fact that it was Tobey Maguire, it feels like the older Spider-Man, the one that's more advanced, more experienced as being Spider-Man, was the one that stopped him. Like, we don't do this. It's like a teacher. You don't like, nah, don't do that.
It was just great. I mean, the whole conversation about the webbing too, and they did the
Yeah,
meme two times.
we're not making fun of you. We're not making fun. It's just that we don't do that. Does it come out of anywhere else?
And the whole thing of like, you're amazing. You're amazing. I
Yeah.
need you to say that. You're amazing. No, 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 I just it's a thank you for saying it. Thank
Did
you.
you ever have a web block? It's like, while you're saying that, I was actually thinking I actually had a web block. I said, how did that happen? Existential crisis.
Crisis.
That's how I started on that.
I was crying. I was like, oh, I love that they brought that up. I told you they were gonna bring up Venom. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I fought like an alien and he was black, and I was like, cool. I almost
yeah,
fought an
yeah.
alien.
And I had an alien down on Earth and in space. I'm just still trying to process the fact that you fought an alien in space. And it was like I just fought some dude in a rhino costume.
And he says it like,
He's like,
yeah, that shit was
and the funny,
bad.
and he was so disappointed because he was like, I'm lame. It was like, what? You said you really need to stop talking that way in your own head, like you need to leave that alone. You're amazing. You're amazing.
You're amazing. I need you to say that. Tell yourself that. You're amazing. Uh,
And when they started running, all three of them together, they're like, woo!
Yeah, they all had fun
All
with it.
felt, and they all felt like it was Toby, then came Andrew, then came
Tom.
freaking Tom Holland, Spider Man. It all came at like in the order that they came in through films, and I was like, that was really cool, you know.
And they
And
even
then
like helped web each other, like swing through. I think they
uh,
used like one of them like what was it called? Used the swing and just pulled them to the other side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I like that they all did that. Ah man, and they all had their own type of way of being a spider. You know what I mean? And they didn't forget about it too. And the whole back thing. Oh, the whole back thing moment where he tries to like, oh yeah, I had this back thing and everything. He's like, oh
yeah,
come here, I'll crack your back.
yeah,
Nobody got well. They did get the joke. They did get the
yeah.
joke. That was good.
And
That was.
honestly, I feel like Jamie Foxx redeemed himself in this one. I felt that
I
they
don't
took
think
a
it was Jamie's fault in that movie. I really
no,
think it was definitely just the writers and whatever they wanted to do differently. Like it just didn't work the way it should have, and I don't know who just thought that was a great idea to get make him blue. I just
yeah,
and he even said
but
it. He's like, I look great. I have hair.
it's, I look great. I don't want to leave this place. And then which is cool because I kind of like the fact that he sensed energy and he sensed Iron Man's freaking thing. The what's that shit called?
Accelerate or something.
Whatever. But he sensed it, and he ended up stealing it and using it as his energy, which made him like able to control it more, and more
Yeah.
power was coming out of it, which was really cool. And that funny, the scene that had me dying was when Ned was looking at the tree and he's like, "Yo, it's just a tree, man. It's just a tree."
Just a treat, dude. Um, Alfred Molina, man.
Oh,
He had fun. He was also, and it's crazy because it's people forgot like he was going mad because of the tentacles were speaking to him inside his head, and it wasn't until like he put like Peter fixed him that people like were like, oh yeah, I forgot he was going mad because of that. You know what I mean? Like he was angry. That's why he was yelling.
yeah. I love the when he saves him and he comes and he says his the
The
palm of
power.
and then all of a sudden Toby responds, it says it,
The,
is it Peter? And then he takes it off. And in that moment you hear like the theme song that it plays in from his movie, and then just that conversation alone felt warm and felt like there was love there between his character, Otto's character, and him. Because we saw that in the beginning of the movie, in the second movie, that
yeah,
there was a
yeah.
friendship because of their intelligence and how they view things, and the fact that we got to see that again, you know, was really cool.
It was just
And
great.
yeah,
The little tidbits that they put up, man.
everything was cool. I liked it, and I'm glad that I felt there was some type of redemption of Green Goblin.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I felt like there was now it's like, oh man, we get to see him a little bit more insane in this one. And we've always, in the comic books, it was always like that personality, that other person was always like talking to him. But then when he broke the mask, you started to see that, oh, he's full on Green Goblin right now. He's not Norman. It's he's all full on. It's like that whole idea when they say Batman, he's when he's in the mask, he's the real person.
yeah.
This time, like breaking that mask sort of kind of made him free. Like now I could be, the Green Goblin. I don't need the mask for this anymore, which was really cool. And the fact that freaking Peter sensed it, like his senses was like, oh
Yo,
my,
I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Is there like somebody else? Is there something else? And I was like, oh, he sensed it that he was actually not working for them. Okay.
yeah, which was really cool. Like this was something new. This was like interesting because I'd never seen that like his
Play
senses
out.
work.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
cool.
something I really enjoyed that nobody really got.
But
When when Daredevil caught that break right before Tom Holland, and he's
yeah,
like, "Wait, how'd you know that was gonna happen?" But it's like his senses are more heightened than the Spidey sense, and I like that,
yeah, that was really cool.
especially because he's sitting there. But still, that's
Yeah,
really bad.
so we got to see like he didn't have to wear the suit. We
No,
knew him
he,
because we've seen him for 3 seasons,
yeah,
and well, 3 seasons in the Defenders. So it's like, if you know who the actor is, you could see like from his blindness and the fact that he's a lawyer, the glasses, and the fact that he caught a brick. You right away, it's like, and he said it like, "Hey, Mr. Murdoch, thank you." Like, ah, so good.
I
And
want to
then
rewatch it, but I can't.
that ending, I felt bad because it's like everyone is gonna forget, and even Doctor Strange felt a sort of emotional moment that he had to cast a spell for everybody to forget that he was Spider-Man, that even he would forget. And the thing is that he kind of saw it like, people are gonna forget, we're gonna forget who you are. And I started thinking like like I was thinking in my head like really fast, like why would Stephen Strange even be affected by this? But then thinking about it, it's like they both experienced almost the end of the world. They
Yeah,
saved the world. They were there when Thanos attacked. They were, from the beginning when Thanos first comes in. He was there fighting with him in Titan. So the idea that it would break Stephen Strange's heart to not know that who this kid is, it like freaking bothered me. I was like, it's kind of sucks. No one's gonna know who he is. But then it's almost like in the beginning of his comics, in the comics, when he was constantly like visiting Fantastic Four, or he was visiting all the other characters, no one knew who he was. They knew him as Spider-Man. They never called him Peter or anything like that until way later. So now we get to see that. Now he could remain a mystery and stuff like that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
you know, because the only person that knew who he was is dead. Sad.
That's super sad. Yeah. It also gives him that solitude of not needing anybody, especially like that argument of like, oh, you needed Tony's technology. You needed Tony to grow up. You needed Tony to be Spider-Man or this type of version of Spider-Man. And then you had Tony's technology in the second movie helping you out. Now it's really him on his own, and then him building his own suit and just making it his own, and
And
just giving
yeah,
him that solitude of not needing anybody but just himself. And that's really what Spider-Man is, because
I
you get to
think
see him in that broken apartment, and you get to see him like, and I like that they gave him that type of apartment because it reminded me of the PS4 Spider-Man game, and it
there was
definitely reminded me of like Toby's
a
apartment
lot
too.
of, yeah. The yeah, Toby's apartment definitely.
Yeah.
It was weird.
the
I was surprised
the
that,
door, I laughed at the door. I was like, oh, they gave him the door.
and it reminded me of the PS4 game, and I feel like now they could tackle the next Spider-Man series as the PS4 games. They I don't think they'll have to worry about like they'll still probably use the Marvel Studios banner with the Sony.
Yeah.
Now we could actually see Spider-Man be on his own and be as great as how he is in the PS4 version.
Yeah.
You know, now look at that. Even the cell phone is telling him the what the police station or what cops, like so he knows where the crime is happening. That's from the PS4 version.
That's from the
He
PS4 version.
also is ended up starting to design his own suit with his own, that's definitely was. I mean, it was taken from the comics because he was doing his own suit on his own. But it's like they're kind of taking that from the PS4 version. Then we got Feast, which is the company that Aunt May had that was helping people who were homeless, trying to feed them. That was also from the PS4 version. So it's really cool that we're getting to see that. Now all we need is to see is Miles.
I know that's what you were thinking. I was like, yeah, that's why he took out that one point. It was
That's
Miles. I was like, you brought him in like the first, what's it called, movie where you kind of mentioned like, oh, I have what's it called, Childish Gambino. He says like, hey, I have a nephew, and I don't want him to also be part of this. I was like, is he gonna be the Prowler, and then his nephew is Miles? Like, give us something more. And I really expected that with this movie because it's like you're bringing these other Spider-Man. What about Miles, man? He just
and
had Spider-Verse.
I could see, because the way the cartoons are in the Spider Verse has, he goes to different dimension, different places, and
Yeah.
everybody's slightly different.
Yeah.
So imagine all of a sudden he enters a freaking portal and he ends up in freaking New York City, in Queens, where the Tom Holland Spider Man is at, and that shifts from cartoon to like the real world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it will be. It would. I would rather see that in an end credit scene than see it like in an actual movie happening. That like because it will be odd. Like, it'll be like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and shit. So it's like just to see that like sort of like open portal and him getting sunk in. Because once he's the funny thing is like when you see the trailer of the new Spider-Man Spider Verse, you see him going into the 2099, and you see how the texture in cartoon alters
Yeah. Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Imagine it sort of alters and then enters to this universe. It'd be cool to see. We
Uh,
gotta.
we just gotta wait and see what they're gonna do with the fourth one, which I think they will do. I don't think. Did you see Spider-Man will come back?
They didn't say that, but I mean, he signed up. He's already said that he was signed up for a trilogy,
And then,
Spider-Man
but
trilogy.
it did say Doctor Strange will return after the.
Yeah.
Did you stay and just watched it again?
Oh no, I definitely stayed
Yeah.
because I knew it was at the end. I was
Oh,
hearing
okay, okay,
about it.
okay.
I mean, God, the amount of credits you have to wait for.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
they should have done it in the middle instead of waiting for all those credits to go down.
But I
Because I
liked it
don't.
though. Oh yeah.
It's just like you start to hear like everything that happened in New York, and it said when they were in the UK, all the people that worked there, and then when they went to some other place, it's like all the people that worked there, and the soundtrack and everything. So it's like, man, I just want to get with this, man. And then they show the Doctor Strange trailer. Not much to see, really, but we the only thing that sort of may have everybody in awe was Wanda's coming back. We get to see that. Uh Baron Mordo. Was it Baron Mordo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Baron Mordo's coming back because he's a major villain. But from the looks of it, he might not be the major villain. Um, I don't know, but they didn't say right from the start. That was Shomogorov, that huge octopus with an
It
eye.
it was, yeah, yeah.
And I I keep forgetting this girl's name. The
Uh,
girl that
I don't know. I just call her Holmes. Katie Holmes, right? It's not Katie Holmes. No, it's not Katie
no,
Holmes.
no, not that, not her, not the one that plays his wife, the one that's gonna be the other superhero with the star in her back that she has a
Oh,
gene.
America Chavez.
America Chavez, which she's gonna be in it, and then also it also brings full circle that what if is going
Canon.
to be canon, and we get to see the Doctor Strange from that cartoon.
It's gonna be
So
interesting, man. I wonder. They say it's gonna be rated R and it's gonna be scary, and I'm like, I don't really like scary movies, but I'm gonna go see this one because it's just the Marvel stuff, you know. And beware.
to see it like how the like to see Doctor Strange transform into the monsters and all that stuff, and to see him like the tentacles and all that would be really cool to see. I
Yeah.
actually want to see Doctor Strange and see that view of what happened. Maybe we'll see the live action version of what happened to him instead of seeing, how we saw it in the cartoon, like get his backstory.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was even when they show Doctor Strange and he sees the city and all that liquid black and all that stuff in the multiverse. It's the same thing as what it was on What If when he went into that and he started seeing all that glue, that black goo stuff coming up in the air and all that stuff. So it's really cool that they're kind of combining that. I just want to know how much are they going to include in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness? Are they going to talk about bringing in the Watcher, or what happened on that? Or maybe they're just going to bring in Doctor Strange and just let it be, and not touch on what we saw in What If.
I don't know. There could be a lot of things, man. Could be a lot of things. I could see like maybe a glimpse of like that zombies what if episode. Um, maybe Captain Carter. I don't know. Maybe a glimpse of what was that scary one? Not the zombies. Oh, maybe a different Black Widow. Maybe the episode of when Black Widow passes away. I don't know. Something cool. Something that also just ties in with what if that other than the evil Doctor Strange, you know. And oh yeah, I forgot. We forgot to mention Wong is now Supreme
Yeah, it was funny.
because
I
he was
actually
blipped.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was funny. I said, yeah, because I disappeared for 5 years. He gets to be Sorcerer Supreme. So yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a knock. Um, I don't know. I just enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home. I wish they actually put it out right now because of what's going on in New York City and the pandemic. And I think I would rewatch that movie
The
ASAP.
the thing that I am terrified about is the fact that if this gets serious, a lot of the Marvel movies will get pushed back again.
That is true, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So
So Mobius will be January, well, and then
again,
uh,
where is Mobius, man? Because you got the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire poster there. You got Vulture, and then you also got Oscorp. Is this supposed to be just Spider-Man 2? I mean, Spider-Man 3 for Andrew Garfield's? Like, will this set up?
think so. No, I don't think so. It's gonna stick to the same universe that Venom's in. I think there's gonna be some sort of
Oh, yeah,
twist.
right. Or maybe Venom is part of Andrew Garfield. Well, Venom 3 just got confirmed.
I know Venom 3 got confirmed definitely. Um,
And now
and
that
they'll
symbiote is actually in the MCU. So will we
yeah,
see a
yeah,
Flash Thompson agent Venom? I don't know about that guy, but yeah.
yeah. I don't know about that kid being agent
I
at
mean, he
all.
hasn't given me anything cool to work with, and him highlighting his hair in the movie just sorry, you know.
But could be interesting is Eddie Brock existing on that planet, on where Tom Holland's Spider-Man is.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, it could easily still be Tom Hardy. It's a multiverse. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to look like another. I mean, it could look like another Eddie Brock.
yeah.
It could just be Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock. They could pull that off. I mean, you know, they could throw a multiverse at that. Like when shit was happening back
Contracts.
then, say it was Hail Hydra. Hydra was the fault of everything. Now
Uh,
these days they could just say it's the multiverse. This is why it would happen. Anything, any reason, like
I don't know. With Doctor Strange happening, I don't know. Maybe he'll tie in everything all together, and we'll see what happens with that. It's one of the things I want to talk about. I knew that Toby's Spider-Man was going to get stabbed in the back when he did that, but I was going to cry if this man died. I was like, there's no way they're going to kill him. Please don't kill him. I'm like, I know it happens to in the Spider-Verse stuff, but please don't kill him. Oh, I'm so glad they didn't.
Somebody in the theater when Tobey Maguire comes out of the portal, it's like everybody was like, "Woo!" Somebody's like, "Yeah, the real Spider-Man." And I was cracking up. I was like, "Oh man, this guy was like, during the 1990s." Because honestly, the kids now, like the kids my son age, or my girl's kids, they've probably seen a Spider-Man, but they wouldn't remember it going in theaters because they weren't born yet.
No.
You know, to see, and I remember during that time when I saw it and Daredevil came out. Before let's talk about this, and I'm gonna bring something up which was kind of interesting. Daredevil came out, and we were
Oh,
always talking like, what was the best movie, Daredevil or Spider-Man? But I was pretty hyped about Daredevil in the way they kind of made his character look. It was more, I mean, he wasn't as agile as Spider-Man jumping, flipping, and doing shit in midair, which we usually see Daredevil in the comics do that. But he was
right.
beating the shit out of people in the bar, and
Yeah.
he was kicking ass, and they got him to kill somebody in the train station, which was not it's not something that Daredevil does, but
Right.
let a dude die. But here's the irony in that. Of course, John Favreau played Foggy in
Yeah.
Daredevil. So to see him in front of Matt Murdock in
Yeah.
Spider-Man Way Home was very interesting. Like I feel like they should have thrown an Easter egg in there somewhere.
They should they should have used. Hold up. Let me Google this right now. Oh, let me see. Daredevil. What year did that come out? 2003. Foggy. Because remember the episode. Remember the episode. Remember that scene where it shows his face and the long hair. It shows like an old photo of him in the
Yeah,
news. I thought they used the same photo that they used, at least for like Foggy Nelson in 2003, but they didn't. No, it's not that one. Damn, because that would have been a good Easter egg to throw. I don't think they would have thought of that, but maybe they did think of that. I was like, oh, that could have been smart. No, just to use a ridiculous one. But yeah, that would have been a good Easter egg too, or something like, or we'll use one of the lines that they had back then.
it was something that I was that cracked me up in No Way Home was the scene where they May's breaking up with him, and then all of a sudden they stumble upon, you hear a sound in the room, and he's like, yeah, let me check what's in there, what's going on. And then Peter's like half naked, and she's in there, MJ like trying to help him out, and then like, oh my god, what's happening? And he closes the door, and then they open it, and then she's like, oh my god, MJ, I never met you. And
use
then she's like, it's like the whole awkward situation of
Did
him
you
being
use
shirtless.
protection?
And the funny thing is, throughout the entire thing, as he's walking around the room trying to close it, he's still in his underwear with
Yeah,
a shirt.
this man.
And then they're like looking at the TV and they're like, is this in front of our building? And then he just puts the shade up and he goes,
Like, fuck it. Everybody knows.
oh, it's so funny. It was just a lot of freaking funny moments that I enjoyed. Even the meme. Oh, they did that. Hey, Peter. Peter? Which Peter? Which Peter? Which Peter's this? What's
They
going
used it.
on? And then
They
like,
did
just
it
Peter.
twice,
Oh man, yeah.
or
It
maybe
was
three
so
times. No, I think twice. Oh, when Toby came in, and then Andrew was there, and then they did that jump thing. I was like, oh, it was so on sync too. Yeah, that was great.
there was a lot of things in there. How about the one when Ned is like saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna be your best friend, and I'm never going to come after you. I'm never gonna be to turn into a supervillain, and I hope you don't try to kill me." And then it is like, Ned, what? And then you see Andrew Garfield just put his hand behind his back, like like yeah, you got like you're
Dude,
okay.
somebody said a theory and said, "Hey, dude, since he talked about him being a villain and then him losing his memory in that huge foreshadowing moment, since he doesn't know him as Peter anymore and they're not best friends, in the future if he becomes Hobgoblin and then Peter takes off his mask and sees Ned, that would be fucking heartbreaking to see later on in the movies." I was like, "Damn."
Could be possible. I could see that actually happen. Like
Yeah,
him
so
now since that friendship is no longer there, he can become the villain. Things could change. And it was strange. It felt when he came into the coffee shop and he ordered the coffee, for some strange reason, I don't know why, but I saw Tom Holland a little bit older. Like he looked like with the experience, the shit that he experienced at this moment, he didn't feel like a high school kid.
oh, I know what you mean.
Like he placed in all this stuff, and it felt like he was much older at that moment.
Yeah, I
Like
know
it
what you
saw
mean.
like and it's kind of like that scene, which was when Kirsten Dunst was talking to Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. They lived next door to each other, and he was throwing out the trash. And they were talking, and he was like trying to like spread some knowledge to her about something. And then he was like, saying, you look a lot taller than you used to look. And then it's like, I think he says, I used to hunch. And it was because she started to see him in a different light. Like she started seeing like he didn't have the glasses. Now he's Spider-Man. He's more, like different in the way he acts, his mannerisms and his characteristics. And it felt like that's how it looked like when he came into the coffee shop and
Hmm.
he was trying to get the coffee. And you could see the freaking tears in his eyes. Like when he was like talking to her and he said, "Hey, are you okay? Do you have a cut there?" And you could see like his eyes are like getting teary eyed. And I was like breaking my heart because it was like, he can't tell her, you know. And even if he did, will she believe it?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that states that she will remember any of those moments. Like something. It's not like Fantastic Beast at the end when he goes into the freaking bakery and remembers
Yeah.
who he is. That there it was like he's not gonna have that. You know.
Do you think they will bring Zendaya back to become his MJ, or do you think they will actually give him a Mary Jane?
Now, I think they'll bring her back. The fact that they mentioned here that it's actually Watson, and she was like, "I don't use Watson."
Oh, they did, right?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh." So the only thing that's different is the fact that it's her Jane is not Jane, it's
It's
Jones.
Jones.
M stands for something else. I know it's not Mary, but her last name is like Watson,
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah, I don't use Watson."
it's interesting. I like the. I mean, listen, man, I love the movie so much. I want to rewatch it a couple times. I enjoyed it. One of the best Marvel movies up to date, on par with I think Endgame of the hype. I think it definitely beats Endgame. In my sense, even though Endgame did have a good couple moments in the movie, I think this movie just like,
This movie did not drag. It went straight to
and it was action after action after action, and it just had its slow moment. I think with
and
Aunt
even
May.
when there was and even when there was not a lot of action, it was massive nostalgia.
Yeah,
So you were mostly in awe, like, holy crap, they brought this guy in. Lizard's here. And it wasn't even in the moment when Lizard pops up, he was already inside the cage. But it was the fact that, oh my God, we're getting to see him again. Even those subtle moments, there was like nothing that,
even
I mean,
Sandman. I forgot that Sandman was like a good guy.
yeah, there was not even that much action packed when when Electro first pops up for the first time, and when Sandman pops up. You know, like there's a scuffle, whatever, and then all of a sudden they end up in that freaking cage and shit. And it was like it was mass. It was like the fact that it was like, oh man, we got the Sinister Six finally. You know, well, I don't think in the beginning Green Goblin was considered one of the Sinister. It was Hob, but shit, we got six of them. And the fact that I was like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to take them those fuckers down without help. And the
Some
fact
backup,
that
you know. Yeah,
they brought these two, it was mind blowing.
it was great. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna call it here. Should end it. Next year we'll be back. Of course, this will be the last episode of this year, season 2. Season 3 will be out and about, and I think we're gonna start off with Boba Fett, man, because the 29th it hits the first episode of Boba Fett. And then after that, after those episodes end, I think the Mandalorian is back, but I think it starts in March. So we shall see what happens then.
I think this year, I think their Marvel
And
outdid themselves.
outdid themselves at the end, and it was like some people said, "Nah, see, phase 4, this is the end. This is where it goes downhill." I'm like, "No, bro, because what did we just get? We got Shang-Chi, bro, and then we got this. We got Hawkeye. We got the series of WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye." Bro, we got
Yeah,
two great Marvel movies. We got a really, I don't know. You know what? I watched Venom 2, by the way. Oh, we didn't talk about that. I watched Venom, and I thought it was okay. Venom 2, I think, did it better, to be honest with you, because it had just more action. And it was funnier. I think so.
I have my thing that. Oh, and by the way, keep my Maximum Carnage. I ended up buying a copy.
I was looking at it the other day, and I also saw the DVDs that you gave me, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't watch these on my game. I mean, I could watch this on my PS4. I forgot because I can't play it on my computer. But yeah, I still have them. Thank you. But yeah, but yeah, I just it's Marvel outdid themselves this year. They literally had great stuff. Oh yeah, Black Widow 2 came out. And it was just great, man. It was just great. The tidbits that they have, more connection of the comics, characters that we love are coming back. I wonder who else they're gonna bring. If they're gonna bring back Jessica Jones, because I know she really wants to come back, and also Luke Cage, but I don't know if he's actually doing other projects. So I don't know if he's gonna come back for it. Um, Luke Cage, man. I mean Luke Cage. Danny. I mean, I would
I
be
don't.
okay with a recast. You know,
Yeah,
we get it. You're from Kunlun, but it's
yeah,
okay. Stay in
yeah. They should
Kunlun.
get that out of the.
Kunlun.
Get that out.
I
Right.
not being haters, but like, come on. I mean, out of
But
all the
the
out of all the series, that was the last. That'd be at the bottom.
the Asian girl that played his love interest, she was talking about wanting to come back. She
Oh,
actually
she was
enjoyed.
great. Yeah, bring her back. Shadowcat. I think it was Shadowcat, right? No, Tiger. White Tiger.
I think it was something like that. Wasn't White Tiger Jessica Jones' sister? Remember when
Oh
she
yeah,
started
yeah.
the abilities? They really didn't get into that though. But
I don't know, but anyways, bring her back. Danny, bring somebody else. Give me the freaking what's it called? California Surfer dude. That'd be great.
and next episode we talk Matrix Resurrection.
Oh yeah, I started watching that. I heard a lot of bad reviews about it, but I'll give my own opinion because I didn't really. I just heard it was eh. It was 6 out of 10 from what I got. So I was like, all right, don't want any more. Let me just watch it. I saw like the first 10 minutes, but then I had to leave. So I'll watch
Yeah,
it tomorrow.
more about references than anything else in that. It was
Okay.
so it was so filled with more of so
Okay.
much
Okay.
the other films.
Got it, got it, got it. Well, if you like and enjoyed this episode, just hit us a follow, like, comment down below, and tell us what you thought of this episode. What you think if we're right about No Way Home, Hawkeye, and even the Netflix series that we just mentioned right now. And I don't know, you can follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. Wow, it's been a while. Apple. Did I say Apple? iTunes? Yeah, I did. And Stitcher, yes. And we're also on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Um, so yeah, everything's down below. Just hit the link tree link, and you will see everything we're on, and it'll be easier for you to just follow us there or comment and tell us what you hated about us. Do you like our audio? Do you hate our faces? Do you want something else? And should we switch out a different logo this year? I think we will, and also a new layout for the podcast because new year, new us, new stuff, and definitely more posting on YouTube. Trust me, I got ideas. I got ideas. That being said, see you guys next time. Peace out. Anything you want to say there, Joey?
No, everybody have a good night and enjoy the rest of the year.
Yeah, happy holidays and happy New Year's. Peace.